Chicago neighborhoods ranked by lifestyle, not price. Let me break it down. Best for single people in their 20s, Wicker Park and Logan Square. You're on the blue line, you're surrounded by the best bars and restaurants in the city, and you're around people your age constantly. Wicker Park if you want more nightlife energy, Logan Square if you want more of a neighborhood feel with the same access. Best for nightlife would be River North. It's not even close. The highest concentration of bars, clubs, and restaurants in Chicago, all within walking distance of each other. If going out is a priority, this is where you want to be. West Loop is the runner-up, with the Restaurant Row on Randolph and Fulton Market. Gives you the best dining in the city, but it's more dinner and drinks than late night activity. Best for families, Lincoln Park wins this one. Free zoo, lakefront, top rated schools, Oz Park, farmers markets. Everything you need is walkable and the neighborhood is built for kids. Close second is Lakeview. Similar energy, slightly more affordable, great schools and parks. Best for quiet living would be Kenilworth, Wilmette, or Evanston if you're open to the suburbs. In the city, it's Andersonville on the north side. Tree-lined streets, local coffee shops, great restaurants, tight communities without any of the noise or crowd you get downtown. Old Town Triangle is another one of those. One of the most peaceful pockets in the entire city. Best overall quality of life. Gold Coast or Old Town if the budget is not the conversation. You have the lake, the architecture, the walkability, the dining, and the history all in one place. Every neighborhood in Chicago has something different to offer. The question is just matching your lifestyle to the right one. Follow for more Chicago break.
Those of you guys that don't know, when you get towards the outskirts of Chicago, some of the neighborhoods or the blocks will just shut down their street and then they'll have block parties. It's so cool living in the city and still seeing kids play outside. There was people playing basketball, some baseball, some chalk, and I even saw some people building some picnic tables. And they had a spot for a band to join in later, and they were all just sharing food. It's one of my favorite parts about living on the outskirts of Chicago.
I've got my massive bottle of Hampton water to celebrate. It's almost gone. It's officially been a year since I moved to Chicago, and it's honestly surreal that time has been going by that fast. But I kind of just wanted to debrief my first year living here. I moved here from Birmingham, Alabama, which was definitely a culture shock. I mean, I have never experienced the winters. Birmingham is a pretty small city, so it was definitely a huge change, but it was one I knew I was 100% ready for. My dad actually texted me while I was walking home, and he was like, remember when you thought, could I really live in Chicago and make it work? And he was like, how do you feel now? And it honestly was like, wow, I haven't even thought about that. It is a big deal. And I've never felt more independent in my life than moving so far from home. Honestly, if you're thinking about moving away from your friends and family, I know it's a scary decision, but you're only young once, and I mean, it doesn't even matter how old you are. Just if you can do it, do it. I moved here and I didn't know anyone. I literally didn't know a single soul. And I will say, yeah, meeting friends is not the easiest thing to do or the most natural. I met my boyfriend here, and I am what is life? What is life? I'm thinking about where I was a year ago today. So hopefully this is some inspiration. Get out of your comfort zone, and Chicago is such an amazing place to be. So I highly suggest. Cheers to 1 year.
Best city in the country to live in, and I'm going to tell you why, because I think you should move here, or at least consider it. I have lived in a lot of other cities. I've lived in Minneapolis, Denver, Bergen, Barcelona, and London, and then I moved to Chicago, and Chicago is by far the best place that I've lived in. Hey Alexa, what are the top 3 cities in the United States?
New York City, Los Angeles, and Chicago are the top 3 most populous cities in the United States.
Between those 3 cities, Chicago has the lowest amount of rent on average. Chicago's 1 bedroom is around $2,300 to $2,400. New York is $35,000 to $4,000, and LA is around $27,000. On top of that, Chicago is such a walkable city, so I encourage anyone who moves here, unless you need a car for work purposes, you don't need a car, which is going to save you even more money because you're not paying for the car or insurance. I have been here for 2.5 years. I do not have a car. I have 4-ish grocery stores within a reasonable walking distance that I actually regularly shop at. Or I just order my groceries from Amazon Prime Delivery, which is $10 a month. The people, you are in the Midwest, so you are getting Midwest people. And what does that mean? I was just talking to someone over the weekend who had looked at all 3 of these cities to move to, and he described it perfectly to me. LA people are nice but not kind, and New York people are kind but not nice. And Chicago are both. The food here, don't even get me started on the food because it is a hobby to try new restaurants here. The food here is literally incredible. It's very clean. There are alleyways, so there is no trash on the sidewalks. This looks absolutely phenomenal. We have the river and the lake, and that was something that was missing in Denver, was there was no boating. Boating is such a big thing here, which I love because I'm from Minnesota. That sells me in itself. I can make an entire separate video just on the Chicago summer. There are endless amount of sports, endless amount of things to do outside, patios everywhere. People are outside all summer. Festivals, neighborhood parties, anything you could think of. No one is leaving Chicago in the summer. I know what some people are going to say though, the winters are brutal. And to that, I say after a Chicago summer, you are going to need some time to hibernate in your apartment. It is the perfect city. It's right in the middle of the country, so it's easy to fly literally anywhere. I obviously love Chicago. I could go on and on and on, but I am going to go eat my little pre-flight snack. Happy summer.
Surprise, one of the culture shocks for me moving to Chicago was finding out that Chicago is not a transplant city. And I know for you people from the Midwest, this is common sense, but as someone that came from the East Coast, despite all the research I did before moving here, apparently I didn't do enough. And I'm not saying that this is a bad thing by any means. I am a huge believer in community. And I always tell people that if I was either A, from here or the suburbs, or B, I was from one of these neighboring states like Michigan or Wisconsin, and my family was there, but I decided to come to Chicago for college, I would never leave, unless you want to go to California or Florida for better weather. But I made the assumption that because I was moving to the 3rd largest city in America, that it was going to be a transplant city, or it's going to be at least a little more transient. Not that being a transient city is a good thing, but it's just something I was expecting. And as someone who loves people, yaps to people pretty much everywhere I go, I can still count on one hand the amount of people that live here. Not talking about tourists, people that live here that are from one of the coasts, whether it's the East Coast or the West Coast. And to this day, I have not met a single person organically in person that's from North Carolina, where I'm from. And that's after 7 months of being here. So if you're someone and this comes across your algorithm and you're moving to Chicago or you're thinking about it, it's a great city to live in. I have not had a problem making friends and finding community. It's been great. However, just realize that you're really moving to a big, small town with a couple million.
Chicago is the greatest city in the world, specifically living in Old Town Chicago. If you're willing to say hi to people and you're willing to put yourself out there, holy cow, the opportunities and the amount of fun you can have just living day-to-day life is like an absolute TV show. All right, everyone talks about the restaurants and the whole 9 yards. I talk about Wrigley Field a lot because by the Ivy, but just the people. Like, you walk out your door, you say hi to a buddy that just happens to be across the street. What are you guys doing tonight? You got this whole map of social scene at your fingertips, and it's just living fun. Like, it's so much fun. I'm not even talking about like drinking a bunch of beer or whatnot. I'm just talking about seeing what's up with people, bopping around the city. It's fairyland. It's a joke of a life compared to like cutting grass and all that nonsense. Like, this city, and it's specialized city because you got the lake, you got all the attractions, but the day-to-day living is literally out of a TV show if you're willing to go up and say what up to strangers. If you're willing to do that, go to a bar alone, meet new people constantly, within a year, you're gonna have probably the best year of your life.
I frequently forget that it's really cool to live in Chicago. Like, I just walked 7 minutes from my apartment and I'm literally here, and the only reason I left is to go to Ulta to get myself some lip gloss and press on nails. Like, this is my walk to Ulta. Wait, like what? Here we are. Anyway, I just forget, like, people travel all around the world to visit this street, and I'm like,
Can I actually do? Can I set unreasonable fitness goals and achieve? Can I create a community right here in Chicago? Can I grow Aussie's favourite burrito in the US? Can I get better? If you made it this far, I'm documenting my life and my goals right here. The only way if you know I'm going to do it is if you follow.
Like the biggest drama queen right now, but Chicago was one of the places that Ben and I thought we were going to move post-grad just because of connections with his job and whatnot. Thankfully, we are moving to Miami. But all I have to say is I've lived in Illinois most of my life, and like, I am so glad that I'm not moving to Chicago. Like, not gonna lie, I think I would be actually so miserable if I lived here. And I'm sorry, I just don't think I could do it.
So it's my first time in Illinois, and I'm in Chicago area. Do people here have anger issues or something? Can somebody tell me why people honk immediately when the light turns green? Also, the vibes and atmosphere here is very different. Like, I walked into a Costco, I scanned my card, I smiled at the guy, he didn't smile back, he didn't even greet me, he didn't even tell me, like, oh yeah, you're...
So, I've been seeing a lot of comments like this saying, like, Chicago rent high and it's not a good place to live. Baby, I'm not moving out of Chicago because the rent high. This is the cheapest rent I ever had. I stayed in Miami before this. I stayed in New York before this. Actually, my rent that I'm about to pay when I move out of Chicago is going to be way higher. So it's not about the rent. Like, bills is never a reason I'm leaving somewhere. And Chicago is a great place to live. I had an amazing time in Chicago. Everybody used to be joking about shoot 'em up, bang, bang, and gunshots. I never heard a gunshot ever in Chicago. And I've been here almost 2 years. So the reason why I'm moving is not because of Chicago. I'm moving for a lot of reasons. One of the reasons is I'm never here anymore. So I'm just paying rent. So I might as well move where I'm always at. That's number one. Number two, as a content creator influencer, I think I connect more with being back in New Orleans. Like me doing content and stuff. I feel like New Orleans just fit me doing that. And also I make way more money in New Orleans as far as content creation than Chicago. So yeah, I'm not moving from Chicago because of no rent that I didn't like Chicago. I'm moving from Chicago because I'm never in Chicago no more. So why would I pay rent if I'm never here?
To keep living in Chicago extremely affordable. First bucket is transportation. I rarely, if ever, Uber or Lyft. I really only do it if it's extremely late at night and it would be super sketch to take the CTA home. Thankfully, I live in a spot where it's close that I can walk, bus, train, wherever I need to go. Personal care, I don't have to color my hair. And my last haircut was done by my brother. My nails are never ever done unless someone pays for them to go get done. Like I'll go with my mom or my aunt or whoever, or I just paint them myself. I got laser hair removal when I was 18. Don't have to get waxed. I don't get my eyebrows done. No facials. I get nothing done. If I do wear makeup, it's usually from CVS or Sephora's personal brand, not a name brand. Number 3, clothes. I rarely, if ever, go shopping, and I only go shopping if I really need an item. I already have so many clothes. Same with shoes. I only buy shoes if I really need a pair, and mostly that's my Brooks because those are the only shoes that I wear. Groceries, I exclusively go to Aldi and Jewel. Jewel has really great deals. Typically get my groceries from Jewel for like 50% off. Aldi's extremely affordable and cheap. Extraneous dining out. So I only go out to eat with friends. I do like a solo dinner, but I try to limit those to maybe like once a quarter. Go into the office, I just eat the snacks there. Don't do kind of the corporate slop bowl. Same thing for beverages. I only buy coffee if I'm with a friend. I refuse to spend money on alcohol, so I either don't drink or only drink if it's free for me, as in somebody's buying me a drink. General apartment expenses. My heat and AC, when it's cold, I will only turn on my heat if I'm typing and I can't feel my fingers. My apartment's pretty temperate. Unless it gets super hot and I'm just sitting in my house sweating, then I'll turn on the AC. Probably on 20% of the year. I am able to keep my lifestyle extremely affordable. You just have to track where your money is going so that you can budget.
If you're moving to Chicago or you're thinking about moving to Chicago, I'm going to give you a list of 3 pros and cons about the city as somebody who's lived here for 7 years. I'm going to just get the easy one out of the way. Pro, Chicago has the absolute best summer fall season anywhere. The lake is so fun to hang out with in the summertime. And it's a bearable weather where you can actually go out and walk around and you're not like absolutely annihilated by the heat. Con, the winters last for freaking ever and the seasonal depression hits so hard. Snow hasn't been as bad these past couple of years, but what really hits it for me is how gloomy it is and how gray it is outside all the time. And then when it gets really, really windy, those are the days where I really just stay indoors. Pro number 2, Chicago is absolutely a foodie city. You can find any kind of food at its absolute peak form in the city. There are so many different bakeries, so many different cafes, restaurants, bars, cocktail lounges, you name it, you can find it in Chicago. The con, your liver health, your gut health, your wallet financial health is going to go absolutely down the drain. But another pro is there are a lot of happy hours, so really utilize those. Okay, last but not least, third pro is there's public transportation that will literally get you anywhere in the city. You have both the L and the Pace buses, and the L does run on a pretty tight schedule, I would say. The Pace buses, from my experience, are not as strict on a timetable. If you have a car, it's also really helpful for when you go grocery shopping or like you just don't want to take public transportation. But this con is like literally my pet peeve, is just having to pay for parking everywhere you go. I hate paying for parking. Street parking is relatively cheap if you can find it, but if you're parking downtown, it's almost impossible to find, so you have to go to a garage. And if you don't pre-book it on Spot Hero, it costs an arm and a leg for what parking should cost. And also Chicago has speed cameras everywhere, and they've recently added so many more speed cameras, at least around where I live. So that is a little bit annoying. Okay, those are just some of the pros and cons that I have after living here for 7 years. Let me know if this helped and if you guys want a part 2.